I was married to my husband for 3 years. I didn't have any kids. My husband has an extremely low sperm count. We couldn't give up, so we chose fertility treatment. 5 years, I continued to get hormone shots. Maybe it was because of that I was always skinny, but I somehow put on almost 45 pounds in 5 years. Even after we stopped treatments, my weight doesn't seem to drop. I didn't eat many sweets, and I didn't really drink much alcohol. I would walk and restrict my diet, go swimming, and try all kinds of exercises, but I really couldn't lose the weight. The only thing I could think of were the treatments. The sad part was that my husband would occasionally look at my body and sigh or
I liked you when you were skinnier.
complain to me about my own body. When I went to her house, my mother-in-law would say things like, "You're so different," or "You're probably just lazy," and the complaints would never stop. The people in the neighborhood would say that I was the reason we couldn't have kids, and eventually, it's his low sperm count, not me. I started resenting him, but I knew that that was the one thing I shouldn't say out loud. So I kept it to myself, but when we got in a little argument,
I didn't expect you to get so fat. You tricked me.
I couldn't stop anymore. If you were a man who was actually fertile, I wouldn't need these stupid hormone treatments! It was too late. I had already said it and my husband had left to his home. The next day, he apparently went to work from his parents' house. I don't know if you'll come home today, but let's talk about it once you do. I told him, but he didn't come home that night. I didn't know if he was more hurt than I had thought, but he kept ignoring my calls. 4 days after my husband had left, my mother-in-law had called and chewed me out. He had told her why you left. "You said something you never should say!" She was furious. I had a reason I said that. I wanted to tell her, but I figured she wouldn't listen, so I held it back. "Can you put my husband on the phone?" I asked her to put him on, but she said no, of course. "You need to come over so that you two aren't emotional and talk about it," is what she said. "He's thinking about divorce too. You two got married, so figure it out." She had said a lot of other things too, but they didn't make sense, so I just ignored it. As far as divorcing, I don't have any qualms with it. I left her at that. In addition to all the daily complacence against my body every day, the disappointment of a man who was almost 40 running to his home and acting like he was the sole victim was enough. I was completely done with him. My brother had called me, worried.
I understand how he feels as a man, but you knew that already, right? The only reason you said that was because you were already hurt. I feel like both of you are bad in this. I think all that matters is what do you want to do going forward.
I don't think I can continue living with him. My brother laughed on the phone after he heard me.
Okay, then here's your answer. I'm going to go with you on the weekend, so let's go tell them together.
Thank you. I was glad that I had someone in my corner, and we went on the weekend. My brother, my husband, and my in-laws had showed up. My husband was the first one to break the silence.
I knew it was because of me. That's why I couldn't stop pestering you.
He seemed so small when he mumbled under his breath.
I figured you had gained weight because of the fertility treatments, but then that would mean admitting that it was my fault you gained weight. I was so sad, but it looked like you didn't care about anything. I felt like you didn't care that you got fat because it was my fault, so I couldn't stop but blame you.
My husband honestly told me what he was thinking, but that was the final straw. I wanted a kid. I always have. You realize what kind of pain I went through accepting that I may never have a child in my life. But this was something that I had no control over, so I kept doing things to occupy my time and satisfy me, work that I enjoyed. I wasn't always positive. There were people who were rude to me and say things that were hurtful. But if I had taken it to heart, I figured it would hurt you, so I ignored it and moved on. Then, I didn't think that was going to make you think that I didn't care. I didn't realize that I was crying before my brother handed me a handkerchief. Maybe I should have berated my husband for not being able to have kids every day. Is that how he saw me every day? I was in shock that my kindness had actually bit me in the butt. I don't think you'll ever get over your little problem. I wiped my tears and looked him straight in the eyes. We can't be husband and wife. I don't want to. I want to talk about divorce. I said you two need to talk about it!
Mom,
My brother shut her up real quick.
you need to let them talk to each other about how they really feel first. I don't want to think about divorce. I won't say anything about your body, and I'm sorry for how I was victimizing myself. So please.
What? So people accept us? So I'll take care of the house, because you didn't do anything for me before. My husband was at a loss for words. I had no other answer except no.
About this?
My father-in-law, who was silent this whole time, finally said something.
My son is completely in the wrong.
My mother-in-law looked angry and my husband looked sad.
I want you two to work as his parent, but you have your own life. I don't want you to throw it all away for him. It's tough being married if there's no love. This is your fault, son. Give up.
My father-in-law seemed to be the level head of the house. If you're not going to cooperate with the divorce, I'll hire a lawyer, but I'm not changing my mind. Next time, we'll talk with attorneys. My mother-in-law and husband both looked disappointed to the end, but that's how our talk ended. I successfully divorced him a few months later. Through the service of a lawyer my brother introduced to me. If I were my husband, maybe it's my fault. Sometimes I think about it. But if we got along, it wouldn't matter if we didn't have kids. We could enjoy life. Marriage means we enjoy each other to the fullest. There needs to be trust. I felt like this really showed that off.
Thanks for watching! Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Bye!